Which foods in our diet are the richest in protein? Proteins are essential nutrients that the body needs every day because it cannot store them. They are vital for maintaining the skeleton and muscles, producing hormones, strengthening the immune system, and promoting healing. In short, proteins, and more specifically, the amino acids of which they are composed, are vital for maintaining equilibrium and therefore health. In this video, we explore the foods with the highest protein content that you can incorporate into your daily diet. But before we begin, I would like to welcome you to AI Health Talk 360, your health channel. Our goal is to help men and women take care of their physical health, understand the benefits of certain foods and the causes of diseases, sexual and general, and adopt healthier lifestyles. If you're interested in what we have to offer, subscribe by clicking the red button below and activating the notification bell, so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos. The meat, fish, and egg family is the first and best-known protein-rich food group. These are, of course, animal proteins. These proteins are rich in essential amino acids. In other words, the amino acids that the body cannot produce itself are present in these foods. Therefore, it makes sense to consume these foods on a daily basis. It's not necessary to eat meat at lunch and dinner. However, as part of a balanced omnivorous diet, it's a good idea to have several vegetarian meals a week. Which foods in this family are the richest in protein? For example, there's the poultry family. Turkey is particularly interesting because it's very high in protein and quite low in fat. Eggs should also be mentioned as they contribute to a balanced diet. Although they contain less protein than meat and fish, eggs still provide around 13 grams of protein per 100 grams, compared to 18-25 grams for meat and fish. However, eggs are particularly rich in essential amino acids that are easily absorbed by the body, and they can be prepared in many different ways. So really, include eggs in your diet. Above all, don't be afraid to eat them, even if your blood cholesterol level is slightly high, because the proportion of the population who are sensitive to eggs because of their cholesterol content is minimal. Let me remind you that oxidized cholesterol is extremely dangerous. Perhaps I'll make another video about it. It's important to consume enough antioxidant compounds in our diet to prevent the cholesterol in our liver from becoming oxidized and being deposited in the artery walls. So think about it. This family of foods, meat, fish, and eggs, is obvious. But I'd like to remind you that these are the foods that provide the most protein in our diet. The second food group that's particularly high in protein is dried cheeses. Overall, dairy products are a rich source of high-quality protein of excellent biological value. This means that our bodies absorb and assimilate them particularly well. Dried cheeses, such as Parmesan, extra old Mimolette, and Comte, are particularly hard. As they contain little water, they are high in protein. Parmesan, for example, can contain up to 30% protein, which is useful if you need to increase your daily protein intake. Seaweed is a third protein-rich food group. We often forget that seaweed is packed with protein, and some varieties, especially when dried, contain very high levels of protein. Chlorella is a good example. Spirulina and chlorella algae, for example, contain up to 70% protein by weight. However, 100 grams of spirulina or chlorella is not the same as 100 grams of meat. Of course not. The recommended quantity of seaweed is around 1 teaspoon, perhaps a little more. It depends on your needs and many other factors, but it can really help supplement your protein intake. It's an excellent source of dietary protein. After the family of meats, fish, eggs, dried cheeses, and dried seaweed, you also have seitan in the fourth protein-rich food group. You might not be familiar with it. It's just wheat gluten. We can make the famous seitan from this gluten, for example, seitan steaks, which are very rich in protein. This is particularly interesting for people following a vegetarian diet or looking to reduce their consumption of animal products, such as meat, fish, eggs, and cheese. However, be aware that it contains gluten, so if you are intolerant or hypersensitive, avoid it. Another group of protein-rich foods is legumes, also known as pulses. Examples include white beans, kidney beans, flageolet beans, chickpeas, split peas, and lentils of all colors, such as brown and blonde. All of these legumes are very high in protein. What is the protein content of these foods? About 20-25%. Please note that these percentages are calculated on a dry weight basis. As a result, cooked chickpeas contain 8-10% protein. While this is less than meat, it still makes an interesting contribution to meeting daily protein requirements. So don't forget to include legumes in your diet. They're part of my starchy foods category. These starchy foods are rich in vegetable protein and important for a balanced diet. Make them a regular part of your diet by enjoying dishes such as coral lentils, split pea puree, chickpea casseroles, and hummus. They're particularly delicious. Oilseeds are the sixth family of protein-rich foods. This family includes walnuts, hazelnuts, almonds, and oilseeds such as chia, flax, and hemp. As the term oleaginous comes from the Greek holos, meaning oil, this family of foods is rich in fats. However, it is also rich in plant proteins, calcium, magnesium, iron, vitamins, and more. These are real nutritional powerhouses that I encourage you to incorporate into your regular diet. Protein levels range from 19 to 25%, or sometimes even higher, as with peanuts or peanut puree, for example. It is interesting to note that oilseeds are found in both raw and derived forms, such as oilseed purees, for example, almond puree, sesame puree, which can be consumed. However, be careful as these foods are high in fat. To avoid disrupting your diet, be careful not to eat too much of them. The recommended amount is 30-40 g per day maximum. Think about it. The last food I want to highlight in this list of protein-rich foods is, of course, soy. Soy is therefore an important source of vegetable protein. It can be found in various forms, such as textured soy protein, which can be used as an alternative to minced beef in a bolognese sauce, or soy flour, which is high in protein. However, beware as it is also very high in fiber, which can be a disadvantage. Nevertheless, you can replace 20-30% of your usual flour with soy flour. This will naturally enrich your dishes with protein. If you're vegetarian, you can also enjoy soy yogurt, either firm or silken, and either flavored or plain. You can also add smoked tofu to dishes such as sautéed vegetables. Alternatively, you can buy soy steaks. Read the ingredients list carefully to choose products that contain neither added sugar nor excessive additives, since these are processed foods. That concludes this short list of protein-rich foods. I've made another video to help you improve your protein intake. I invite you to watch it too. If you have any questions, please ask them in the comments section. We'll be happy to answer them. We'll see you next week with more nutrition tips. We'll see you next week with more tips on nutrition, sport, and much more. See you soon.